Hey theater writers and lovers, I'm your host Noah Mutterpearl and you're listening to The Latest Draft. Today's pod features The Arrival, book and lyrics by Jamie Maletz and music by Jack Trzcinski. After the apocalypse, M is the last woman alive, or at least that's what she thinks, until there's a knock on her bunker door. Now, grab your playbill, take your seat, because the show starts right now.
A small bunker with cement walls and no windows. On one of the bare walls, there are 364 tally marks. On the coffee table, there is a maidenhair fern, a bottle labeled potassium cyanide, and a teaspoon. M enters holding a glass of red wine. She puts a teaspoon of cyanide into the glass. Then she walks to the wall and adds a 365th tally mark.
Well, time's up. I gave myself a year. No one came. Because there is no one. And if I'm the only person left, there's no point.
M raises the glass to her lips, about to take a sip. M takes her gun out of its holster.
Please don't be zombies. Please don't be zombies.
Hello? Is anyone in there?
Well, if they're zombies, they're very advanced. Fuck it.
Lyle is covered in dirt and looks tired and bedraggled. Deb looks fine and is wearing a little black dress, big sunglasses, and high heels.
You're people. You're actual people. You're survivors. Oh my god, come in. I can't believe it. How did you get in here? We can't go outside.
Maybe you can't.
We dug tunnels from our bunker.
Just randomly? Don't get me wrong, I'm glad you're here. So glad. But how did you know where you were going?
We didn't. We just didn't want to sit alone and wait anymore.
Well, some of us didn't.
Oh, forgive me for wanting to be proactive.
Like anything we do is gonna change anything.
Don't mind her. She's a downer.
I'm just being practical.
And selfish.
Do you really want to do this now? Here? In front of our new friend?
Well, it's not just about what you want, Deb.
You two must be thirsty. Do you want water? I have water.
Sure. Why not?
She means yes, please, and thank you.
What is the matter with you?
I'm trying to cut to the chase.
We haven't reached an agreement.
That's true.
Give it time, Deb. It isn't a race.
You and I both know it isn't if, but when. Why do you insist on dragging this out?
You and I both know.
Here's your water. By the way, I'm M.
I'm Lyle.
Deb.
Wow, you were really thirsty.
We've been rationing our water. Really put a strain in our marriage.
Oh, how long have you been married?
Forever.
Oh, and anyway, I'll get you some more water.
You and I both know we should watch what we say.
You and I both know that it's over either way.
You and I both know.
So, where was your bunker? Where are you from?
We moved around a lot.
Lyle was never comfortable accepting where we ended up.
And Deb never really understood commitment.
I'm from Scranton. You guys want some snacks?
Sure. Thank you, honey.
Okay.
You drive me crazy, you know. You always insist on your way.
Why are you fighting for 10 years or so when it could be over today?
You and I both know you don't care what I think.
You and I both know you drive me crazy. I need a drink.
Well, we've already invaded her home and made her uncomfortable. Why not drink her wine, too?
You think I won't?
I think you'll do whatever you please because you just think about you. You take what you want and you take it with ease. Admit it, Deb, that's what you do.
Maybe you're right, and maybe I will. I do love a good Cabernet.
That's a Merlot!
God, your voice is so shrill. Who cares? It's red wine either way.
They are wildly different types of wine. Are you a complete barbarian?
No, I just don't care. You want to know why? Because all wines taste the same. You know what? I take that back. That wine tasted different.
Okay, lower your expectations because this tastes like chalk, but here we go.
Thank you.
So, how long do you think we'll survive? Realistically, I mean.
Seriously?
What? I think small talk went out the window with the rest of civilization. And it's a valid question.
I mean, she's right. We don't know how much time we have left.
We never did. Even before the apocalypse. You could think you had your whole life ahead of you and get hit by a car the next day. The point isn't to wonder how it's going to end. The point is to make the most of the time you have.
Unless you'd rather make sure it ends the way you want.
Deb?
Oh my God. The wine. Tell me you didn't. Did one of you drink it?
Hope you don't mind.
Oh my God. 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 Do not move. I mean, wait here. I mean, I have Ipecac. I'll be right back.
See how cute she is? She shouldn't have to die yet.
Everything has to die.
Deb touches the fern. It instantly withers and dies.
Be careful. You'll give yourself away.
Lyle touches the fern. It instantly comes back to life.
Oh my God. She's the last person alive. Why bother pretending?
Okay, look, I am so sorry, but you need to drink this.
No thanks.
You have to. There was cyanide in that wine.
That's what I tasted.
She's immune. Cyanide doesn't work on her.
You mean you've tried it before? I mean, just... How do you know that?
I'm immortal.
She doesn't like to talk about it.
Okay, but how did you get poison in your system? And once you did, how did you not die? It's just a little suspect. How can I believe it's true that poison doesn't work on you? And also, you finding me is just... What are the chances you would stumble upon my door? How exactly did you find this bunker? Were we lucky and were you nearby? It's just a little suspect. How can I believe it's true? You two found me just randomly and poison doesn't work on you.
Wow. Paranoid much?
And what about the tunnels?
What about the tunnels?
Well, how far did you tunnel?
Why does it matter?
Because you're wearing a cocktail dress and heels and you don't exactly look like you've been digging. And on top of that, you don't have shovels. You are not dressed or equipped to try. It's just a little suspect. How can I believe it's true? You tunneled here in formal gear. You two found me just randomly and poison doesn't work on you. Stop being vague and evading. Give me a straight answer. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? What are you?
Deb accidentally touches the fern, and it withers.
What the hell? What did you just do?
It was like that when I found it.
No, it wasn't.
M takes her gun out of its holster, pointing it at Deb.
Whoa, hey, what are you doing?
Who are you? Who are you, really?
Put the gun down.
Or don't. Whatever.
You're not who you say you are. Who are you? What do you want? Tell me the truth. I mean it. Tell me!
The bullet goes into Deb's stomach. Deb doesn't even flinch.
This was a new dress.
Oh my God! Deb! You've been shot! My wife! Speak to me. Come on, Deb, speak to me. Deb.
Oh, give it up, Lyle. You get it, right?
No.
Lyle.
Lyle touches the fern. It comes back to life.
How about now?
Are you gonna do that to me?
That's currently up for debate.
I need to sit down.
I'm done waiting. We came here, I played along with your charade. We've seen enough to know that death is the right option.
Says Lady Death. And what you want, you get, right?
Obviously not, because I haven't touched her yet.
Oh, what? Because you care how I feel?
Yes, asshole.
Then let her live.
I care enough to come to an agreement. That doesn't mean you should win.
Well, there's no proof you should either.
She was about to drink cyanide when we knocked on her door. She's on my team.
That's because she hasn't thought it through yet.
Thinking it through won't change her mind.
You really think that?
I know that.
Then put your money where your mouth is. You make your argument, I make mine. Then, whatever side she chooses, we honor.
You're on. Hey, kid, listen up. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, life has had its run. Nothing good about it left, it sucks until you're done. So why you wanna hang around and suffer through the rest? In some sad bunker underground, alone and so depressed. There's a faster, better, painless option you can try. Don't you wanna die? I can end your life with a flick of a wrist. No more whining or wondering why. Blissful nothingness, you get the gist. The universe had its plan and you slip through the cracks. You don't have to live just because you can. Oh, wouldn't it be nice to just relax?
Okay, my turn. Where there's life, there's hope. There's a reason you're the one to survive. I know it's hard, but you can cope. You can make the most of being alive. Life is a circle, a cycle repeating, and you're standing there with your heart still beating. You're the reason it doesn't have to end, and who knows what's just around the...
Sorry, but I'm gonna say it, life is not the kind. And it doesn't seem to care that you've been left behind. There's an instant kind of clearer, final way to say goodbye. Don't you wanna die?
Of course she doesn't. If she dies, it's over for all of us.
I want it to be over.
Well, I don't.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Our fate is tied to yours.
If humanity ceases to exist, so do we.
And since we can't agree on a point of view,
That's why it's up to you.
don't you wanna
Where
die?
there's life, there's hope.
I can end your
There's a
life with a
reason
flick
you
of
were the
a
one to
wrist. No more
survive.
whining
I
and
know
wondering
it's
why.
hard, but you
Blissful
can cope.
nothingness,
You can make
get
the
gist.
most of
The
it.
universe had its plan, and you
Life is a
slip
circle,
through
a
the
cycle repeating, and
You
you're
don't have
standing
to
there
live
with
just
your heart
because
still
you
beating.
can.
You're the reason it doesn't have to end. And who
Okay, stop! I hear you, okay? I get your point, both of you, but I can't just...
You're gonna die either way. Why wait?
Because she didn't slip through the cracks for no reason. She survived because she was meant to stick around.
She survived randomly.
Actually, I had a dream the night before the end of the world. It's why I ended up here.
I saw tendrils of smoke curling up past my face. I felt the earth sink in molten fire. People were screaming, but there was nothing they could do. It was like I knew. When I woke up, my breath seemed to stick at this bunker. It was a place I could run into. It was like I knew. I sat underground and I waited to be found. I told myself it's only a matter of time. But I waited and waited and nobody came. I tried once to see what had happened up there, but I felt this cold and it kept me inside. Like a new ice age, clouds of ash the sun can't get through. It was like I knew. So I sat underground, wishing somehow I'd be found. I tried to think it's only a matter of time. And I waited and waited, and then you came. And now with your arrival, I finally know I'm the last one left, but I'm starting to think maybe there's something, a reason why I'm the one here with you, because it was like I knew.
You son of a bitch.
What?
All this talk about me disrespecting you and me insisting on my way, and you fucking meddled.
Deb,
You just had to take things into your tiny hands, didn't you?
look,
You sent her a dream? Existence had a plan. We knew the plan. We weren't supposed to interfere with the plan.
Wait, you sent me that dream?
You realize this dismantles your whole argument, right? It was never about fate. It was just you undermining existence, undermining me.
No! Look, I admit it, I sent the dream, but Em didn't have to take it seriously. She didn't have to go into the bunker. If the grand plan was for her to die with everyone else, she wouldn't have made that choice.
You're right.
See?
No, not you. You. I was supposed to die.
I know.
The fact that I'm here is just a big mistake.
And now that you know, you can accept it. You can make the right choice and let things take their natural course.
Deb reaches towards M.
But I want to live.
You do?
Well, I am here, and maybe it doesn't matter what the reason is. However much time I have left, I don't want to cut it short.
But your existence is meaningless.
Well, then I guess there's no pressure. I can make my own meaning.
If you want, I could stay with you. I can keep you company so you're not alone.
I'd like that.
So, that's your choice then. Life?
Lyle holds out his hand. M reaches for it.
Wait. If you choose life, I can't guarantee how it's going to end or when. This is your last chance to take the quick and painless way out.
Deb holds out her hand. M takes Lyle's outstretched hand.
You're making the right choice. Where there's life, there's hope. And no matter the reason, you get to survive.
I know it's hard, but I can cope. I can make the most of being alive.
Life is a circle
a cycle repeating, and you're standing there with your heart still beating.
Even though I know it's only a matter.
Yes, it's only a matter of time. You're still gonna die. Maybe not this year, maybe not today, but I'm still gonna have my way. Yes, it's only a matter of
Life is a circle, a cycle repeating.
until the day comes, your heart stops beating.
Together we'll be.
And I'll wait patiently.
Though it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time.
Hello, listeners. I'm your host, Noah Motor Pearl, and you are listening to the latest draft. I'm here with Jamie and Jack, the writers of The Arrival, the amazing piece we just listened to. Jamie and Jack, how are you doing?
Yeah, really good. Thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're making it. We're making it in a pandemic world. How about you, Jamie? How you feeling?
Yeah, doing great. Better than M, I guess.
Oh, very true. Very true. So we everyone loves a good post-apocalyptic story. There's just something fascinating about the end and what that could be. Particularly, I've noticed in the past year, people have taken a particular interest in the end of the world.
It's differently now.
Yeah, for sure. But no, what really struck me was this fundamental question, the to be or not to be. So I want to know how this idea manifested. What was it inspired from? Where did it start? And how did you two decide that this is something that you were going to pursue?
Yeah, we were actually we wrote this at the Graduate Musical Theater Writing Program at NYU. We were paired as partners for like the final assignment in the first year, where you have to write like a 20-minute musical, and you have to like propose two ideas. And this was one of the two, and it was the one we went with. Jack, do you remember like the full original? I remember part of the original inspiration, which was a comic.
Yeah, the comic was the main thing. Like I remember, so because we were sort of paired up, we'd been waiting to be paired up to write together for ages, and we finally got this chance to write this 20-minute. But then like the actual idea itself was really hard won. Like we spent like whole days just holed up in cafes going through like public domain material. Like what do we want to write about? And we settled on that comic. It was a comic. You probably know more about it. You probably remember it better. But it was the key inspiration was death being personified and characterized, and exploring that idea.
I actually have the comic. I actually found our like planning Word doc.
Really?
I can screen share if you want. I could show the comic.
That's so cool. I mean, I think that'd be cool to see.
Let me see if I
do you have screen sharing capabilities, or is that something I have to give?
If you make me a co-host, I can share my screen. I can show you the comic.
Oh boy, I am showing my lack of Zoom knowledge here.
2 minutes in and Jamie's taking over your podcast.
I know, she's taking over. Oh.
This is the comic. Can you see it?
Wow.
So this is that's the comic that we got the inspiration from.
Wow, is it just that? Just like 3 sides? Or very simple, yet effective. Huh.
So kind of like
this comic, yeah.
Being like inspired by life and death, like being like a couple, and like and like living things being like a gift or something that they could like argue about, or something tangible. We were really interested by that. And then obviously, like you said, everyone loves a good post-apocalyptic story. And one of the parameters of the assignment is that it has to be a cast of 3. So we were like, oh, well, what's one way to work within those parameters? Well, if there's only one human in the whole world, that's one way to do it, I guess. So that was we kind of took it from there.
Yeah, and we kind of slowly expanded on the theme of like, so obviously M has this question hanging over her of is she going to kill herself? But it was the question, when the last human is dead, what does that mean for life and death? And we sort of came down on, well, it would mean that they would also cease to be. And how does that complicate matters when one person's life or cessation of life impacts upon the wants and needs of 2 other people who have conflicting wants regarding that? And that's sort of that was the seed of the idea that we built out from.
Yeah, literally discovering the fate and meaning of the universe in a 10-minute musical. Like going more on the character and the characters and life and death personified, what was behind, or I'm not sure of other iterations. I watched your 54 Below performance, which was fantastic. What was behind the decision to have life be someone who was presenting male and female gender? Was there any intention behind that, or is that just who you casted, who you loved?
Yeah, the intention was not really like, at least as far as we were thinking, like it wasn't so much like, oh, and death definitely has to be like a man and life definitely has to be like a woman. I think it was just like the way that we wrote it. I had like a very fun mental image of like death being someone like very like earthy, crunchy, and like everything is like great and wonderful, and life being like very like, you know, sexy sunglasses, like, you know, like and also like sarcastic and like fuck you. And I don't think gender necessarily was like specifically thought of.
Right.
Yeah, I think like I could post hoc say that, you know, making life a kind of maternal mother figure would be tropey and done. But I think the honest fact of the matter is, like, we thought this line would be sick for a woman to sing.
Yeah.
This is the balance of voices we want. Who are we going to distribute these parts to? And it came out of Jamie's writing as well, how she characterized our characters.
Yeah, that was kind of the other thing, was like, it is very tropey to see like death as a stereotypically like male figure and life as like a mother earth type figure.
Right.
And so maybe there was a little bit of intention of like flipping that on its head.
Cool. Very cool. No, I love that. This the whole piece is about breaking ground and asking big questions. Can you talk to me a little bit about your structuring for the process? Were there songs that came first? Was there an outline that came first? Yeah, if you could explore that with me, that'd be great.
I do have the document.
Got the documents.
So actually, like the song that came first doesn't exist because we wrote a lyric, and I think we even wrote like the music for it, but it didn't end up making it into the final draft of it. Because again, for part of the assignment, like you have to write music and lyrics for 2 different ideas, and then you decide which one to move forward with. But then we ended up like writing and revising and moving forward. And so this, the first song that we wrote for the show that stayed in the show, I'm not sure I remember which one it was. It was probably that theme though. Just the theme of the
that definitely came really early. I think that actually might have come in the first song. It was like a exploratory thematic material, and we wanted to keep that in.
It might have been, like you and I both know, was the first full song that we wrote though.
Yeah.
Because we kind of like wrote it in order, like as far as like full songs.
Yeah, we were sort of getting from beginning to end. But Hiding Something was really fun, because something I remember about that was thinking like, I really want to write like a song with an additive structure.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it like the hole in the bottom of the sea, but like terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. Or like Why We Built the Wall from Hadestown.
Yeah.
Like sort of songs with sections that get longer as more material is added to them and expand in that way. So like that ended up being So what are her reasons for suspecting them? It's like, oh, she's building up these arguments leading her to think that something is awry. And that was just fun to play with, and to play with the thematic material and muck about with.
Yeah, and I remember being really excited when we first wrote It Was Like I Knew, because like I remember you sent me the music for that at like, I think it was like 3 or 4 in the morning or something like that. And I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, it's so good. Because it's like the music is so creepy perfect for the moment. And it was just like, it came together so perfectly for being like this kind of crux moment of the show. And it's just like this kind of perfect, like dreamy apocalypse music. And I was like, oh yes.
That was one of those songs, because there are always songs that are like sort of won through blood, sweat and tears, but then some that you're really proud of is just like, oh yeah, that just happened, that just fell out, that song, which was always nice.
And lyrically too, that song just kind of like, dreamed its way into existence, I think. And also like a song, if you listen to that song at like 3 or 4 a.m., it's like, it's intense.
For sure.
Hearing Kerry sing the High C towards the end for the first time and just be like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
No, that's so great that some of these melodies and songs were just, you said, falling out. In contrast, were there any difficult songs or moments that you struggled with in this piece? And if so, how did you overcome them?
A lot of I would say that you and I don't want to like lean in too heavily on any of them, because they're all different. Like there was the question of structuring. How do you maintain interest in hiding something with all of the changing sections in a matter of time? There's all the counterpoint happening. So that obviously takes it's a very different approach. It's like you go from, singing with your guitar to being like, no, I need to go into notation and figure out all of these melodies individually and start like just sort of Jengaing them together. But
yeah,
probably, for me at least, it was You and I Both Know, just because there's so much dialogue in it, and it's so like they're basically whispering but they're singing, and it's got that sort of that very tense quality to it. But it like a lot of those difficulties were eliminated by a recorded performance, because timing is the really difficult thing when you have a small dialogue in the middle of a song and all of a sudden you've got to vamp and things like that and switch at the correct moments. But
I was also wondering like how you were going to pull off, but then you totally did, and it wasn't even an issue. The in a matter of time, we like switch the like emotional feel on its head, like back and forth like a million times, because like Em and Lyle are like, we're gonna be great, where there's life there's hope, and the Deb's like, but you're gonna die, and they're like, and everything's gonna be all right until everything's over, and Deb's like, but it's gonna be over. And I like sent him that lyric and I was like, good luck, have fun. and then Jack just like did it, and I was like, great. I don't know how you did that, but great.
At that point, I will draw back the curtain a little bit and say that, I mean, it's built on so much thematic material that already existed. It's like a mashup of all of the songs. So it was like even I think the thing I found really fun about that was in the in Deb's section, when there's a little it's like a 6/8 5/8 kind of jam, like convincing the singer to do that. But that is really a sort of iteration of the initial theme in a sense. So I don't know, I'm gonna brush off all of those compliments and just be like, no, it was easy.
Oh, that's fantastic. Everyone has their own processes. Everything's different for each collaboration. Did you have usually would a lyric come first, followed by a melody? Would a melody come first? Which did you experience?
I think for this show, it was all lyric first.
Yeah, I think it's like it was definitely every song was the lyric came first, but I think once you start writing songs alongside them, that starts to influence the kind of lyrics that comes out, and it's this kind of there's an element of feedback into the process. But yeah, I generally work lyric first when it comes to musical theatre songs.
Totally. So obviously we are a podcast musical show, so everyone's hearing your story. I know that you had a 54 Below performance. Would you have any intention of, hopefully, obviously, when we're all vaccinated and it's safe to do so again, staging this in any way, shape, or form again?
Absolutely. I see no reason why not, especially I think now that sort of chamber musicals are so much more in demand, and certainly over in England, the Southwark Playhouse is this sort of vaguely sort of off West End kind of fringier end of things, but they're doing amazing things with live stream theatre from their space, typically chamber musicals, and I see no reason why The Arrival couldn't really function very well as in that format.
Yeah, I would love to see Future Life for The Arrival. I think that, especially because it's literally like, it's exactly 20 minutes. So it could easily be like a great addition to like a night of theater, or like its own, like there's so many ways it could plug into different like showcases or festivals, or be its own thing. And I would love to see it be staged in some way beyond what it's already been done as.
And I remember our instructor Mel, when we'd finished, the composer of the Grinch musical, he suggested perhaps we should turn it into a full length, which why not go 3 hours sung through the figure it out.
That's interesting, because that's actually one question I always ask on this podcast, because I'm always taken aback by how much rich story and character the artists we have on this show are able to translate in 10 to 20 minutes. And your show asks some really big questions, and have really great characters. Do you think that it could serve as a longer form piece? And is there any ambition or talk of you two doing so?
I personally think that The Arrival is a very complete story. Like, I think that in its 20 minutes, it tells what it needs to say. I view it as more of like, I could see The Arrival being like one of 3 short stories. Like if you had another complete story and another complete story that you shared as like a night of theater, and maybe if they were connected by a theme, I could see us writing another 2 related stories that like maybe tied together somehow.
Kind of anthology cloud
Yeah.
business. I actually could not agree more. I feel like The Arrival is in itself very thematically complete, and although like you could pull on the seams and start asking more practical questions about the apocalypse, I don't think they're necessarily interesting or necessary for the characters. It seems like a firm no over here.
I think one of the most
there is no wrong answer to it. No, it's just something I love asking, because people will be like, oh, well, we could find out this much, or they're like, no, we told our story. And I mean, I agree with you. Like, you guys are able to hit all of the beats and ask these big questions and bring people in such a short amount of time. It's really, really fantastic.
I'm interested to explore maybe a sung through version. I think I'm always more music, but I think it could support that, but who knows.
And I think like one of the most important things I think you can do as a writer is to know like when your story is done and when to stop writing. I think that is something that it's an important skill to learn. Like, I think overwriting is something that a lot of people, including myself, like do, and you have to know when to be able to rein yourself in.
Totally. On a similar note of writing and process and knowing your stories and yourself, do you have any advice that you would give to people who are struggling to create during this time? We're so used to being able to collaborate in person and create musical theater that is in a theater and shared with our friends and our loved ones, and complete strangers who we're keeping entertained for the night. What advice do you have for people who want to take that leap to create right now, but they're uncertain?
Don't worry so much about getting it perfect. Don't worry so much about the rules. Don't worry so much about. I've seen a lot of people get stuck because they're worried about, like, oh, if I show it to people, they won't like it, or I don't know how to do X, Y, and Z. And honestly, just getting an imperfect draft down on the paper, an incomplete draft down on the paper, a crappy draft down on the paper. Because if you get hung up on like not knowing something or the rules or your own doubts, you will never write anything. So just write what you are interested in writing and what is interesting to you, to at least get started, to make yourself happy, and that can be a really good start.
I still struggle with the bad first draft, because I have like that feeling just in my soul of like, no, when I've completed it, it needs to be perfect. But no, the first draft is going to be not good for the most part. Like sometimes, lo and behold, you get there and it's great. But by and large, you can't be scared of the ugly baby is what I call it. Some collaborators is like, yeah, this may be an ugly baby now, but they will blossom into this beautiful person later.
Right, a beautiful swan eventually.
I think the thing I would advise most strongly is that writing, as much as it can be, should always be play. Like you should be having fun. Just copy something that you've heard before, make something like it, rip it apart, maybe make something different next time. Don't put too much pressure on it. And you'll be amazed at what you make when you don't put pressure on it.
That's fantastic. Great. Well, wrapping up here, a couple more questions for you both. What are each of you working on right now? I know that, every writer has a different approach to this pandemic. Are you guys excited about anything coming up? Either that's in a virtual format or that you're working on for when we can go back to the theater again?
I've been working on some stuff in lockdown. I've been doing a lot of mixing, lots of mixing audio and that sort of thing, doing virtual concerts, because I have a lot of skill when it comes to electronic music making. But I was and am orchestrating and music directing a folk musical that was supposed to be live streamed from a certain venue a little roundabout now, but unfortunately England went into another lockdown, so that's on hold. But I'm actually working on a few things that I can't talk about yet.
All right.
Yeah. I can tell you that one of them is a musical and one of them is not. But there is something I can tell you about, which is that I'm working on a show called A Kiss for Cinderella, which is going to be going into a workshop with National Youth Music Theatre in London. Come this July is the intention, and it's a workshop week, and then with an aim to being part of the fixed season next year. But it's about this woman, Jane. Oh.
Sorry, that was my bad. Yeah, keep going. Sorry. Did you want to just start over? Yeah, with what you're saying. What's it called? It's about a woman?
This woman, Jane, who's come from across the sea, and she's in Blitz-era London. And she finds herself looking after these 3 refugee children from the West Indies, from Germany, and from Italy. And they've each brought their own story, their own version of the Cinderella myth from their culture. And they're all like, I don't know if you know this, but so many cultures have essentially analogous Cinderella myths.
Yeah.
And some of them are like, Cinderella talks to the fish in her pond, or some of them are Cinderella talks to the tree that is her mum's reincarnated spirit and things like that. And it ends with a ball or a king and things like that. And these children realize that this woman who is looking after them, this Jane, this maid who is destitute and poor and has just met a rather dashing man, she must be Cinderella. So they decide that this is true and that they're going to make it true. And it's about sort of the coming together of this community and addressing some quite hefty issues along the way, but overall rather delightful, I should think.
Wonderful. I can't wait for it. Jamie, what about you?
Yeah, so I, during like pandemic times, also have done a lot of making performance videos to kind of put together like a portfolio and also to stay connected to all the wonderful performer friends that I have. It's one of those times where I wish that my website / social media handle was easier to spell, but it's my name. So it's jamiemaletzmusicals.com / at jamiemaletzmusicals. But that's where you can find all those videos. And then the other, as far as like things I'm working on going forward, I'm not giving up on theater, I promise. But actually what I'm really most excited about right now is that I'm taking a screenwriting class. Because I have a TV show idea that I'm really excited about, that I really want to explore. And of course, it's mythology based because that's where my heart lives. And so I'm kind of really interested in learning more about like how the TV and screenwriting world works and seeing what I can do with that and with that idea. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Obviously, I'm still seeing what I can do with the musicals that I have written and how I can get those out into the world. But that's kind of a constant ongoing thing.
Yeah.
As well as the work that I do. I work for 2 nonprofits in the theater world. I work for Maestro Music, which supports the women who make the music in the theater industry. And I work for Ring of Keys, which supports queer women and TGNC and non-binary artists in the theater industry. So I'm always kind of running around doing a million things.
Well, that's great. Well, yeah, thank you. I was going to ask, where can we find your music? Jamie, you answered the question. And we'll also put the link in the description of our video and of our podcast. Jack, do you have a website or somewhere where we can find your music?
Yes. You can find me at Jack Trzcinski on Twitter, but if you're going to find that difficult, you can find me at AnnabelleandJackWrite.com.
Smart. You avoided the last name issue.
Easy peasy, right? And that's the shared site of me and my collaborator, Annabelle Matali-Reed.
Annabelle. I love Annabelle.
Well, thank you so much for you two for sharing your time and your talents with us. Yeah, and best of luck going forward.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for listening to The Latest Draft. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Latest Draft for updates, writing tips, and more. We hope you join us next week for A Constellation, book by Elena Faverio, with the music and lyrics by John Rottingham. Now go start creating.